Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Can you
morning,
hear me?
coach.
Okay, good
Good
morning,
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 coach.
sir.
everybody. Good morning,
Hear you
Morning,
Charles.
clear.
sir.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
sir.
Harold.
Hey, I need to
Okay,
put on my
so
video.
we are discussing disruption this morning, and I don't know how many of us read it and from what angle we learned something. Just by way of introduction again, being is the context from which you look at life, and you can always preset the context. You can take control over it. But usually, we are not aware that what we are seeing is context driven or that it is an interpretation of context. So I like saying this again at every introduction, just so that we are able to recap some of the things we are learning. We forget that we are coming from a context. So one of the stories, articles we are looking at this morning, disrupt your own narrative. Every narrative comes from a context. So in one of my books, or my second book, however you tell it, it is still a story that you made up. However you tell it. This morning I said to myself, I need to spend some time, maybe in the coming 1 or 2 weeks, in the works of Steven Pinker. So one of his quotes in The Art of Possibility is that sometimes we think what we are seeing is out there. He said, but he has found out that there is really nothing out there. Is that not amazing? There is nothing out there, that we are making up what we are seeing. Now, one of his explanations is that an owl in the night sees far, it sees like bright lights. Now, is it the darkness that is making the owl see? For us, we don't see in darkness. He said it is all programming, that the being of the owl, that's what, when we say we are studying being, is context. The context of the owl is set as an owl to see in darkness. For us, our context is not programmed to see in darkness. Now, there are other creatures, several animals that see very well. The way we see in the day, that's the way they see in the night. Now, what is giving rise to the different seeing? It is internal programming. A frog does not see its mother. Can you imagine that? For a frog to give birth, the baby frog does not see its mother. The baby frog is programmed to see only sharp lines of contrast, curves, and what I've forgotten the third thing. Now, the experiment performed on frogs showed one thing, just like Steven Pinker said, it is what you see is an internal. We think we are seeing the whole world. We are not too. That's why some go into meditation, they saw these prophets and all that. Some do astral travel. No, we are just seeing what our context permits us to see. When we are afraid, we think that, oh, we have all the information. We don't. The stories we are telling, we made them up. Now, if it really dawns on us that we made up the story, is it possible to make new ones? Is it possible? That's one of the questions we'll be looking at today. Is it possible to make new ones? Now, human beings have the capacity to alter the context as they grow, to alter the context, to continually choose and re-choose which context they want to come from. Human beings have that ability. So when we have told a story repeatedly, I was talking to a friend 2 days ago, she said, the economy is terrible right now. And I was quiet. That explanation is coming from a context. That explanation is coming from a context. In this same Nigeria where me and she lives, there has never been a time there have been private jet owners like today. And those people are not saying that the economy is the worst. So if you say it's the best, it's also a context too. Doesn't mean it's not a context. But you have to own the context. All right. I just wanted to remind us of some of the basic things on being. So let us say what occurred to us as we were reading the articles. It is in the sharing that we create the class. So the floor is open. We are waiting for one another. I thought we are all very bold by now. We have passed this. You just go on. There is nothing out there. The fear, there is nothing out there. You are creating it. I don't know what the word to use, but it's all open. You can express yourself.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all.
Good morning, Harriet.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir, for saying we should just start anyhow. So
Anyhow.
people can plug in and fill in the gaps. Thank you.
Mm.
So this article that we looked at this week is one of it is by Whitney Johnson, and it's about disrupting yourself. Disrupting yourself. And what they try to, is this person a man or a woman? A woman.
It's a
A
woman.
woman. A woman,
Mm.
yeah. What she tried to say is that just like how, companies at some point we have to disrupt their products, their services, because if you keep producing a certain product over many years, you will want to look at it and see how you can change some things in it so that you can be on top of the competition. If not, your competitors will push you out of the market when they come up with new innovation. So that's how it is that even for our personal lives, you understand that at some point we need to disrupt it too. We should not remain in a comfortable environment and thinking that we know it all, everything is working smooth, we have all the right skills, and we decide to dwell, in that position. So the first one I looked at was hold on, because there were three different write-offs.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. So said initially, people may just be comfortable to say, okay, what they are looking for is money, a prestige, power. But over the years, they will find out that what they need is actually, more than that. They want to move into something else, And he said the lessons there is that, oh, hold on, that it's the lessons from um the person's movements, career move. He gave a story of somebody that moved, that at the middle, of his career. Is it her own career she was talking, or somebody
Her
else's
own career.
career?
It's her
Oh,
career.
yeah. Okay, her own
Mm.
career, that he was working in, at
Mary Lynch.
huh?
Mary
Mary
Lynch.
Lynch.
Yeah.
Mary Lynch, all of a sudden, he decided to say, I want to do my own business, if I remember clearly, instead of just remaining in, that kind of job that shows big status. So at that point, she was taking a risk of, pulling out as a breadwinner or as a major income earner in her family. She had to drop down to look into business. I think it's business.
Yes.
Business. Yes. So that was not an easy thing, because we all know that even Even me, myself, I was thinking of, something like that recently, less than a year ago. But fear did not allow me to take that decision. You understand? Fear did not allow me at all. And I told my husband, I said, it's going to be a big problem. I better remain where I am. Because you see, when I came into this country, my first degree back in Nigeria was sociology and anthropology. Then I went into accounting because I was looking for a job. I went into Akintola Williams, did accounting, did my ICANN, qualified, then started working as an accountant. Then when I wanted to leave Nigeria, I said, okay, I need to do ACCA because accounting is not, you understand, is not, ICANN is not what they fully recognize that way. And I went into ACCA, agree, chartered accountant, ACCA, ICANN. Then I came to UK. I started working. Later got accounting jobs, started working. But after many years, I'm looking at it. If I knew, I would have just gone back into social work, forgotten about that accounting. What is accounting? So that one occupied my mind for I was struggling with it. I said, but if I have to go back into that sociology, social work, which I did in my first degree, graduated in 1987. Oh, I say, look at how social workers are doing well in the UK. But if for me to do that, I will have to go and take maybe a master's or another degree in social work. I said, but by the time I pull out, how will I pay mortgage? How will I survive? That was where the confusion was. So I understand what this woman was talking about, because you are dropping down if you really want a change. And if only I was bold enough to take that change, maybe it would have just been for only like 2 years of struggling and doing part-time job. At the first time when I came, I have to digress a little bit from this article. When I came, because there was no job, I did care job. To be able to survive. And now I'm looking at people who remained in that care job and now went to managerial level. They are running care agencies, recruiting people and making money like anyhow. And I said, see me, I ran away, say I'm an accountant. What do I have to show for it now? You understand? So this kind of disruption is a serious matter. So the lesson he says, it feels scary and lonely, and you are probably on the right track. Exactly. Don't expect everybody to see what you are seeing, even if even if what you are seeing doesn't look like where all the masses are going to. If you assess it by yourself and see that, listen, where I need to be is where I need to be. I need to make a change. If it means dropping down, let me drop down. It could lead to financial, loss. But remember that it could be temporary. Like somewhere in the Bible, they said it's that the road that leads to godliness, heaven, is a lonely road, is a tiny road. If you want to follow that big road where everybody is trooping, you may not get to the real place. It may just lead you astray. So that's the first thing that person that she mentioned there now. And another thing he said, be assured that you have no idea what will come next. And that is very true. You cannot know the end from the beginning. No, it's only God that knows the end from the beginning. All you need to do is take that action, because the market is very, very unpredictable. You are not sure if you go into it. You just have to try your hands on it as far as your mind has told you.
What occurs for you when you realize that you don't know what to try next? How would you feel? You don't know what will come up next. Say, be assured that you don't know what will come next. Does that make you confident or deflates you?
No, actually, if you look at your human nature, it will kind of deflate you. But when you look at it that it could end well, that would be your strength. In those days, we went into all this network marketing. When they talked about disruption, you never know whether you'll be able to sign in somebody or not. But listen, you want to break out of your 9 to 5. They've shown you all the packages in the front to say, if you do well, you will be this, you will travel how many countries as the star director, as this, that. You don't know how you will get there. You don't know whether you'll finally be able to recruit the number of people that you need to get to that level. But because of the promises that are at the end, you are looking at it, it may come out well. So that one encourages you to now start fighting to see how you can make it. So initially, it may discourage you. But if you know that, if your mind is really strong to say, no matter the discouragement, let me push ahead, that will be also an encouragement, because you are looking at your current situation that you want to change. Your 9 to 5 is not helping you. You are going from morning, coming back in the night. And at the end of the day, is overdraft in the account. So you have seen something in your reality that is making you to think that even when you don't know the end of from the beginning of the new thing that they are showing to you, because you want to live where you are, you just keep pushing ahead. That will be what will strengthen you. That's what I think.
All
Uh-huh.
right. Thank you
So
very much.
yeah, should I stop
Thank
so
you.
that another person will start
All
or
right.
continue?
Okay.
Okay.
Let me see. If there is no hand up, I think you should continue. There's no.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So from Wall Street, we saw how, she was writing children's books. From there, Dare to Dream. From there, magazine, volunteer. Some of these things failed on the way. But she has said it that failure should not scare us. You understand? Because when we fail, we should look at learn from what we failed from. It's very key. You understand? Like she said, 90% of the successful business did not start with good strategy. You have to keep changing your strategy. You have started the most important thing is to get started. That's what I've seen. Don't remain where you are. Just get started, even when you don't know the right strategy or not. You understand? They say when new starters, they are asking them to say, write your proposal, write your income projections. That you are only joking because you don't even know what is ahead. He said, but as you move along the journey, there will be failures. And when you fail, analyze that failure and learn from it. What has made you? And that's the example of the man who found the electricity. I mean, who finally hit the thing of electricity. He failed several times. If he was waiting to just get it once and just get it straight, then he wouldn't have been able to, he would have been discouraged. So there was this other part, because there were three things you sent. He said the seven as key principles or accelerants, for self-disruption. They listed 7 things there. He said, take the right risk. That's very important too, because if you don't take the right risk, I tell you, you will just find out that you are just wasting your time. I'm very sorry to say there are some business like this that my husband has brought for me to look at so that we can do, because most things we do together. When I look at it, I say, for this one, you're on your own. No. I'm not going to take this risk because I know how much I've lost in some of this kind of things. So this one cannot be different. It's coming in a new name, wearing a new dress, but at the end of the day, they are all the same thing. I pull out and I leave him. And he's on his own as I speak with you right now. He's still trying to find out how he will make something and recover his money. But my own one naira did not enter this time around. So you have to take the right risk. Risk is very important. If you want to succeed, you must take risk. So move away from what you know, your competence, like now we say, oh, I'm competent on this job. Like those who were using typewriters in those days, I'm competent on typing. If you are competent on that and you don't move out to go and learn computer, at some point when computer came in, all those typewriters, they went away because technology, we change it. If we decide not to change, technology will move. These days now, when they recruit some young people from the university, if you see how fast they are, you too, you'll be wondering yourself that you need to up your game. If not, at the end of the day, they will just say you are wasting your time. He said, play to your disruptive strengths. That's number 2. You understand? Focus on what makes you unique. So that's very key too. and embrace constraints. In our journey, we find constraints. We will be there, we will see what will make it not to be possible to achieve what we have set out to. Those are constraints. What will hinder us, the excuses that are around us, that if we decide to hold on to, you understand, will prevent us. Something like time. We don't have enough time. Hey, 9 to 5, oh, we come back, we are tired. We don't have enough money to do this investment or to go for training. Those are constraints, but we need to know how to embrace it and use it as the reason why we have to move to the next level in our lives. Then he talked about battling entitlement. For this one, hey, you know, some people want to dwell on their past success. Yes, they want to remain there. Oh, I was successful. I've been a successful person on this role. So you don't want to do any new thing. You don't have to dwell on your past success. If you want to disrupt yourself, you need to move out of that level and try new things. Be willing to start from the bottom. You know, in those days, I used to hear that the way up is down. If you really want to go up, you have to come down. So that is what this person is saying. Say you have to start from the bottom, you know, on a new learning curve. Then I say step down to grow. Say be willing to, you know, have a pay cut, just like that, my fear. You understand? How will I survive? But this author is telling us that you have to be willing to take a pay cut. And you know, all this thing is mindset. Oh, if you decide to go to school here, you cannot be doing weekend job. You can even go back and be doing all those small care job for that 2 years, and then build yourself up on a new level and come out. But you know, the fear of how will I make the money for mortgage? How will I do this one? So give failure its due course. You cannot run away from failure. Failure is part of life. So when you fail on a new curve, he said, don't brush it off, analyze it and learn from it. We've talked about that one. And he said, be driven, that's the seventh one, be driven by discovery. Pursue goals that are motivated by curiosity. You want to learn new things. You want to do new things. You want to establish new things. Those are the things that will make you disrupt yourself now where you are, so that you can now move to a different level. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I like the passion and the energy. So we are going to disrupt ourselves today. Okay, so the other people, we are quiet. So what should trigger us to want? Okay, Harold, you want to say something? Let me know. Ask my question yet.
Okay. No, you can ask a question, but what I
Okay.
wanted to say, okay, ask a question first then.
So my question is, why do we want to disrupt ourselves? Why should we disrupt ourselves? Why should I disrupt my narrative?
Coach, you know, vision. Everybody has a vision. No, a goal where they want their life to get into, and if your current state, you know, does not align with your vision, you want to ask question: what am I doing wrong, and how do I get to where I want to get to? You know, so that's the most important thing. Look, when you look, when people say they want to jackpot and they want to leave their environment, it's because their dreams, their goals, they are not meeting with it, and the environment is not giving them the possibility. And here's stories of people who have moved and they are doing well, so they want to try that type of thing, and that is really disruption. But the most.
But they also hear stories of those who have also gone abroad, who are not doing well.
This way. Okay, so the story you tell yourself, because not everybody has the capacity. You know, when the HSMP came in and we were in Lagos, you know, we church members, we all had it, and we're telling our church members, so this is what is happening now. Some people say, okay, and they are doing well, they don't need to leave, but others, so it depends on your vision. Some people say, no, you go and try first, then later when you succeed, then I will come. You know, so the stories you tell yourself matters a lot. Your story, you know, your story, because when you look at your life, what can you do? What can't you do? Because that's the first core thing about when people want to move. What is the story? What is the story that I've been telling you? What are you telling yourself? Do you say, look, I can do better than this? You know, this is my past and this is where I want to go to. when you examine your life and what you're telling yourself is that you are better, or somebody telling you you can stay well, you are doing very well, you are comfortable. Because even from the Berilish lady, is that when you are in a comfortable career, you don't want to move. But when you perceive that you want to change, I'm better than this, I want to move. That is where disruption starts. First of all, there's that quitting in you that they call it restlessness. Just like when is it Isaac, told Esau, Jacob stole the birthright and he was asking for a blessing, and the man said, and he said, okay, he said no blessing. He said, but when you become restless, you'll be able to get out. So there's a restlessness in you that want to make you disrupt what you are. Just like the eagle does it too. The restlessness will make them want to disrupt, tear the nest, and disrupt the other environment so that the eaglet can soar. Because if it's in that comfortable environment, you don't want to disrupt, you don't want to change. But that thing is there. That story you tell yourself matters a lot. If you say, okay, good, or I can't try it again, or I don't too old, they think I can disrupt yourself. We did a course on change.
You just posted something there now. That
Okay.
all these disruptive things for how many years? Old people, because someone from 60 years old cannot raise this kind of thing. So from up to how many years can one disrupt itself?
As long as you are living. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, my husband, hold on. See, age is not a problem. It's just a mind thing. The man who found is it Kentucky chicken? How do they call that? It's not. He was at the age of 5. He got his breakthrough. Don't let age. I'm over 60. If I want to disrupt, I can say disrupt if I kick away fear. Don't bring age inside this matter.
So age is not a factor. So disrupt that narrative.
My husband should continue.
Age is not a factor. In fact, in UK here, they don't even age. They say, look, don't disrupt somebody, don't limit somebody because of age. They can even take you to court and say because of age you are limiting the person. But so they can use other means of doing it. But the fact is that it's the story you tell yourself actually that matters. If you tell yourself that you are too old to do it, you won't do it. Yesterday, the lady taking us on change management said the father-in-law, he was heading a ministry in UK, and then they said people will now start using email. They might say, for what? I'm going to take. I cannot write. I don't like writing emails. So he took an early retirement because of email. Can you imagine it? Even now, even grandpapas, they write email. Because people don't like change. How can I start learning emails? When they say they want to close ticket office, people should start buying online. The first day, one woman came and said, look, she tried it, and she was so happy that she was able, old woman, that she was able to make the payment through train line, and then she came and we printed it for her. She was happy. I have done it. So it's the story you tell yourself that matters a lot, honestly, and that's why we are here, to tell ourselves the story that we can do. Honestly, I appreciate what you're doing, bringing this thing out to people. So if there's any doubt at all that I'm too old or this is that negativity is the thing you tell yourself that matters a lot. If you tell yourself that you can do it and you have the vision, why not? And if not,
okay, thank you. All right.
One of my friends here, one of my friends, about 4 years ago, we're born the same year, 1963. She went back to do nursing. She went back, she read English in Nigeria. She went back to do nursing in school, and she has graduated because it's only 3 years to get a degree here. She's over 60 now. She's working as a nurse. And then she's so flexible. Before you know it, she say, I've changed to this trust. I've changed to this trust. We just move her because there are hospitals all around her. So this one, we are traveling to London from Kent, 2.5 hours going. She just gets up in 10, 15 minutes. She's inside a hospital and she's working with peace. So age is not the issue, is your mindset. She went to uni to read nursing. She did English in Nigeria. English, she didn't even read any science. So, and in Nigeria, they say, if you want to do nursing, if you want to do this, you do science. No science. But she's working as a nurse now.
I can come to the UK now and do nursing.
You can come in, but you have to have master in English. You got to have master in English. That's it. Yeah.
You have master in English now?
No, I have maths
So,
and
sir,
English.
Mhm.
Okay.
your
All
business
right.
is that now, sir.
Okay. What did we get from the stories? What did we get? Oh yeah, somebody, time is going. What did we learn from the articles? And how did it come across to us? Who is okay, Dr. Vic, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I learned a lot from this. Most important thing, disrupting yourself. Because anytime you are in a comfortable place, you are at work, you know ABCD, everything there is very comfortable. You go to work easily. That's the right time to think of the next thing. Don't sit in your comfort. Comfort zone is what actually we need to disrupt. Like Ufoma has said, I'm a dentist. And what is happening for us in UK is that we old dentists, you sit down, you go to corporate, you work for them, and there are young dentists who are coming up. These young dentists, they are trained here in UK, typing me to write my note, what I discuss with patients. I sit down there typing. Blah, blah, blah. These children, when they come, as they are talking to the patient, they are typing. So they can see patients faster than you. They can talk in their language the patients understand. And if you stay there for too long, before you know it, the people you are working will tell you, please, we don't want you again. We want the younger people. They are more on social media. They can bring their patients from social media. So they are fast, they're working faster than you. You have to devise a means to make myself more relevant, to think of outside the box and do something. So we really need this. This is a timely message for us, even for the young ones who are sitting down. You know when to make a move. Mary Lynn, she was in that industry, was a high connective, high social, money making, but she knows that if she stays there for too long, very soon, there will be disruptors. If you go into banking, all these young children, they come in. Within 2 years, they move to another place. They are connecting through social media. They are moving, they're connecting to the two matters in banking industry. Even before you even know who is your HOD or you, they are already moving at a very high level, which connectivity is a thing that we are still learning. Ufoma said something during COVID that Pastor Matthew said, if they're not calling you for Zoom meeting, you know definitely that your job, you're no longer there. But most people will resign. Oh, why are they calling me? Hey, this Zoom meeting, I don't know how. We just don't want to learn. We're comfortable in our own space. And I think this is a timely message for us to think about what. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wisdom, your hand is up.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Harriet. I mean, every time you speak, I was waiting for you to speak before I speak, because every time you speak, you change my narrative, actually. You disrupt my narrative. So for that reason, I always wait patiently. I remember there was this time I came here when I was always feeling like, oh, something is wrong, like, oh, my finances, something is always affecting. I felt like, oh, then I don't know if it was Miss Oge, but there was this young woman, and then you spoke. Meaning, like, it's a mind thing. You know, this money thing is a mind thing. You shift your mind, you do this, it will work, it will work. It just has to work for me. I sat down that day. I remember every single time before then, I used to receive this Zoom meeting on my bed. I would just be listening. But from that day, I sat up. I was like, maybe this is exactly the piece I've been looking for, this being class. This is maybe this is what I'm looking for. And then I sat down with myself and I began to ask myself, what are my narrative concerning money? And just like Mr. Tunde spoke, the first thing that transformed my mindset when I met Mr. Tunde, when he gave us that book, it's chapter 5, Principles of Separate Realities. Everybody sees differently. What story are you seeing? What are you seeing from everything that is happening? And then I sat down, like, okay, what am I seeing and what am I supposed to see? And what do I really want to see from what is happening? Since I was young, I've always known that I want to be the one that defines, because I've always believed that I'm absolutely responsible for the outcome of my destiny. So I want to be the one to take full responsibility of even the mistakes I make. I know that, okay, yes, I'm the one making this up, and I'll take. So the book came, this being class, it's been transformation, layers of transformation. Every single time I attend, commitment, you have to commit to your dream vow. It's been layers and layers for me. And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Tunde, thank you to Mrs. Harriet, and thank you to every other person, Miss Ogi. Yeah, you're really shifted my mindset in many ways. So from what I got, what stood out for me in this disruptive narrative, disruptive innovation, is the third. At first, I couldn't, thanks to Mr. Harriet again, I was able to understand the witness story, because I went to study about this. I saw that it's when you want to change, when you want to sell your product to a larger population. I'm like, "Ah, am I a product now or something?" So I was thinking different. So, but what I understood from her, let me just read it. All I know, this is what I know about being. Mostly, I see being as living a thousand experience in your one lifetime. Um, it's what makes you different in this world. When you are living a thousand experience. So when you want to disrupting your narrative is what gives you the opportunity to live a thousand lifetime, to live a thousand experiences rather in a lifetime, not just sticking to one or defining or accepting the success that has been defined. That is the third one. I don't want to even get to the third one, the third article that I was really able to understand, I was really able to use in my journal to rewrite my own narrative again, to rewrite my narrative. But for the first one, what I understood from what Whitney Johnson was trying to compass across was that she already have to an extent 70, 80 hours work hour, good pay. She already have life figured out to most people. Oh, this is life. She's balling. She's a baller. But the truth is that, was that really what she wanted to feel? Was that really her truth? We all in this world, we have our own truth. Me, I have my own truth. You have your own truth. That's what I used to believe. So was that her own truth? Was she fulfilling her own truth? And then this woman stood up as my superwoman. I always love women like that. She stood up to change her own truth. And she taught me something again about failure. And I've always known this. Failure is just an experience. Failure is an experience. Success is an experience. All I do is I give them meaning. And I have to analyze it so that I won't repeat the process of that failure again, because it's life. It is life. So long you are in this world, experiences will come to test you, something you have never witnessed before, and you may fail. But the truth is that doesn't define me. I still define the failing moment, because at the end of the day, sometimes this happens to me. It's the narrative I want you to believe. And the narrative I want to believe, that's what I will stand on. And they say once you constantly tell yourself something for a long time, it becomes true. Whether it is lie or true, it is true. So she having the guts to leave her job, knowing that her husband is on his PhD and she's the major, and she had to do something entirely new. That's risky. I was reading this woman's life. I don't know if it's a real life story.
What?
I'm like,
Sorry to intervene, but there's one kitty and my mind is roaming around. What makes okay? What makes somebody want to disrupt? I know she quoted Clayton Christensen. How organizations just cannibalize a working product. What makes you want to? Everything is working in your life. Why do you want to disrupt it? You are working in Zenith Bank. You're already managing director. Suddenly, you say you want to go and do another one. What makes you want to disrupt?
okay, I will give okay. When I studied my when I was studying my master's, and this my lecturer, um human resource lecturer, she gave us She was trying to discuss with us on satisfaction in your job. And then she gave us her husband's experience. This is where I will start from, her husband's experience. Everybody have their different reasons, but since she's an older person and she has experienced, I'll call it, she has experienced more life than I have. And then she gave this example. I will speak from her own point. Me, I have my own, what will make me disrupt myself. She said her husband he was being paid very well. They were balling. They had good money, good life and everything, but he was always working. This is his work shift. He goes and spend a month at his workplace, and then he comes back to spend a month with his family. He goes and so every single time she speaks to him, he's so unsatisfied. He was always complaining. One day he just called her that he wants
Sorry,
to quit the
sorry,
job.
there's something I want to pick on there. When you are unsatisfied, if you come to a class like this and you were unsatisfied, let's say, with something in your life, so you want to disrupt the story bringing the unsatisfaction, what would you do?
I would go through my night thinking like, is this really what I want? This was what the third article spoke about. You have to go within you again. So because at the end of the day,
No, no, but look at it. When you say, is this what I want? I have to be sure I know what you are referring to. Is it what I want in terms of the job or what I want in terms of the story? There are two distinct things. What is bringing the dissatisfaction? The work or the story about the work?
generally on fulfillment. The story about the work. The work may be a very good work. It's just, am I feeling fulfilled? That's the end. I think that was the end of what my lecturer was trying to pass across. She didn't say it in those terms. She was
No,
like,
I'm not talking of just your lecturer, and I'm just looking at, I am dissatisfied at work. Now, this is a beam class. So what do I go to? I go to the filters that are producing dissatisfaction. Now, the filters could be, okay, I don't want to work in a manufacturing organization again. I'm tired of working in the factory. Noise, machine noise. Okay, so that's the story. How do I apply this principle of disruption?
change.
Change
You
what?
either change the filter or you change the narrative. Like what is making me unsatisfied? You get to know everything, every experience leads you back to you, leads you back to yourself. So in case the story you are telling yourself, because that lady at that time, if she told another person, I want to quit my job, the story will not add up to their own narratives. But to our own narrative, to her own narrative, to who she was being or who she wanted to be,
Let
the
me
story
not
did not
put you in a box. Let me open it for everybody.
Okay,
There
sir.
is dissatisfaction, and the dissatisfaction is coming from a story. So you have just read these articles, say disrupt your own story. So what are you likely to do next?
Yeah, coach, can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you see, the last article, what's this guy's name now? Is it Michael? Is it Michael? Is it Michael Jarvis or whatever his name is? You see, I like that one because, you see, he's starting from within, not external. First of all, we have the disruption should start from you. What are the thoughts coming to your mind? I can't do this thing. I'm too old and this thing. So that's the thought that is coming in. So you need to disrupt that thought first of all. By changing it. I can do it. I can do all things. I can achieve this. So if you don't disrupt that thought, the pattern, that old pattern will keep on putting you down. So you need to consciously control it. Don't forget about the external environment first of all. It's within you. You need to change yourself
It's within
first
you.
of all.
It's
Yeah.
me. It has nothing to do with what is happening in Nigeria. Who am I being? Good. So it's internal.
It's internal. So you need to control that one. Then when you master that one, before you start facing the external, you know, how do you control that one? By taking steps, actions, something to do, study something about that environment you want to do, you know, get some knowledge, something about it that will make you have build confidence to want to try it. Listen to people, go attend some this thing. There are so many information is out everywhere, you know, for whatever you want to do. When you get that one, try to believe yourself within internally. Even this pray, you pray, do something to ensure to build that belief in yourself. Then before you start attacking the external. But if you listen to stories, man, you won't do anything at all. So that is where the disruption first of all want to come from. Break your pattern. You know, but before you break your pattern, you have to consciously examine the patterns that are coming to you, what the filters that are coming to your brain, your internal processing system. You know, when you disrupt it, then and then not believe in the vision you want to get to, it will even propel you to take action. When you build enough energy inside, it will propel you to take the action, baby steps, and then before you move in. But the thing is that it's possible to disrupt. It is possible to move to get a better life. It is possible. You know, that's why you are here. If you don't want to do it, and remember that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. So those are the things that should propel you. You know, I mean, God is not the until we pass on. There is possibility. There are possibilities in this life. You know, one of the things that happens, especially in corporate environment, is that change is constant. It's coming every day. And so if you don't change yourself, you don't change within yourself by developing yourself, by internal processing, developing and asking yourself, trying to move yourself up, the thing will come and overtake you. You know, I'll give you an example. I was working the other day, and then I saw somebody came in, an engineer, and he said, I said, what do you want to do? He said, this office, say you want to get into the office, look at the wiring system, and then wire it to the gate, you know, connect it to the gate. I said, why do you want to connect? He said, because they want to, there's a technology coming, they want somebody who is in London to tap at that place, and they come here and tap out here. I said, if everybody can tap there and tap somewhere he can't, about 2 miles away with his pay, what does it mean? It means that they won't need more people here. Somebody can, if they're close here, somebody can tap out. If you have money, you tap out and you go with your car. That means they won't need people. It means that there'll be less people needed, and I'll be able to ask people to go. So when you have that type of thing coming up, you know somebody that somewhere along the line, if you don't change now, if you don't do something about it, you know, they will take away your job. What do? You start, you know, thinking of how to process, learn new careers, new things that will help you change a career or do something about it.
Okay, but that is okay. There are. What you are saying is all right. But okay, so that is externally driven pressure that your job will be taken away. But what would the kind of disruption that I'm trying to see that I focus on? If you look personally, I have this belief that if the external environment is always what drives me to make a change, I am at the mercy of the external environment.
Exactly.
So I don't want to be at the mercy of the external environment. If you follow stocks, when Apple unveiled iPhone 17 this year, 2 months ago, the next day the stock price fell. It fell because Wall Street said they have reached the end of innovation. There's not much Apple can do. Tim Cook quickly came out to explain to investors where the new growth opportunities will come from. Because it says that is, if you have studied the work of Clayton Christensen, look, disrupt yourself before somebody comes to disrupt you. You see the end of the journey. So they release phone. So you have brought iPhone 17, you are saying, oh, this one has 2 terabytes. So is this storage they are selling to us? We have to know now. What is the new thing? Or we have reached the end. There's not much we will see about iPhone again. So the next question, usually the way those of us who are into finance here, so where will growth come from if it is not a new phone? So Apple had to quickly do, I think it fell 6%, by the next day it went up again by around 3%. So, but externally driven one is one. Internally driven one, I don't know, Whitney Johnson didn't explain, but it looks, let me say, it's an intern. She wasn't being asked to go. Any of us who knows what investment banking is, you almost have no life. It's averagely 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week, that's how much. 5 working days, you are working about 16, is that 16 hours a day? And now you say no. The pay is very high. I mean, 6 figures as of 2014. How many million? Yeah, over $1 million. But you are used up. Now you now say, I need to disrupt. I need to just get out of this environment. I need to get out. So it maybe an internal one, an internal need. But then here we come. Let me keep that first. Harold, let's listen to Oge first. Okay. Okay, the floor is yours.
Good morning, sir. Good morning,
Good morning.
teammates. Yes, I think you kind of touched on by some of the comments you made. You touched on what I wanted to ask, and the question was, okay, when do we even think about disrupting what we're doing? Is it when we are comfortable, or is it when we just get restless within us? Like people like me who are always restless, trying to get to the next, I have a personal competition with myself. Like if I'm not where, if I find myself where I am 2 years back, I feel like, oh God, I need to, do something. So, but then again, when is it appropriate? And for instance, I used to have this neighbor in my house who personally decided that okay, he wants to be governor of a state that then in the east. And then he had a very good job, official car, everything, family was doing good, they had insurance and the rest. Suddenly he wants to be governor instead following politicians. And that's how he did not become governor. And then his family left him. He went back to square zero till today. He's scrambling to pick up his pieces. Okay. Then I still have another person who every time he keeps changing jobs, he has traveled, he just leaves this good job. I'm wondering, this man, are you okay? Like, people are doing so well. Why are you leaving this job? Probably to a higher level, yes, but to a completely new terrain, to new. I mean, how he does it, I don't know, Shay. So that destruction is working for him. So us as individuals, like at what point do we make this decision? Because for me, I think all my life I've always been kind of disruptive in a sense. Like I'm smallish. I used to be smallish in nature. So when I come into a space, people don't expect so much. Then when I start to do things, people get
Very small
insulted because is this rat?
small
Is
but
this rat?
mighty.
I know, like even when I mean, I think that was even I was reading the article. Yes, I remembered there was this training we went for. I was not supposed to facilitate in Wari then, but somehow I took someone's slide and I was talking, and they took the light. I was still standing there. I was not even a facilitator then. I was just a research assistant, if you remember. And then you are like, it's okay facilitating. I like, yes, I'm facilitating. And they took the way I held the crowd and everything. I wasn't supposed to be in that space, but I'm like, Abba, how can I be always in the sidelines? And that was me pushing myself out of what I'm used to. Like, of course, everybody was like, oh, you're doing well with the research and the rest of them. But somehow I said, no, no, no. I need to move out of this comfort space. And that's how my life has always been like, even from after school. I traveled to already without knowing just one person. I just patched in her house like that, like that. I've been traveling. I left East and went to Meduguri with no family, nobody, and I've done almost 5 years here in Meduguri. So I literally live like that. But at the end of the day, I found out that there are some downsides in that, in the sense that I'm because I'm always changing field, changing industries, changing, even though there's personal growth, but at the end of the day, I'm trying. It looks like who am I? Even though yes, there's successes and all that, but at the end of the day, I kind of lose myself. I don't know how to say. There's a trail actually, but there's no consistent growth in the sense that my colleagues in this industry, some of them have done supply chain in this, supply chain in that. They've grown in that leg, but me, I've moved from engineering, polymer engineering. I've done banking, my mother used to call me police banker, engineering, everything. I said I was applying for police force. He said, are you okay? So this disruption thing can be good at times. So that's why I was asking also, at what age do you stop? At what point do you stop and kind of stabilize a little and stay in the field? That's for career. That's where I'm coming from. At the same time, also some people who I also apply this in the marriage. At what point some people have everything going for them, have good kids, but they still want to disrupt the flow because they want to try out another wife or another system that they feel that is, so where do you put a plug and where do you put a peg? Yes, internally, people also want to get driven or disrupt their own narrative. But where is it? Is there a safe space? I'm sorry. I know in this class I always come up disruptive, but these questions come up in my mind as well. Thank you,
No,
sir.
it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good to look at this issue from various angles. Okay, let me make my own contribution, personal one too, not as a lecturer. So, first of all, you said when you were talking, you said some people are very successful. Now, from the Johnson's article, that success depends on your own metrics. There is nothing called universal success. It doesn't exist. So if your success is the amount of money, then you are successful. If that is what determines whether you are successful, then that is it. There's nothing wrong with it. But like she said in the article, if you are disrupting, you have to look at the units of measurements you are using to gauge the success. If I want more freedom, I prefer it to earning $500,000. I prefer $80,000 a year to $500,000. Just give me my freedom. So which means my success, I'm going to look at it from whether I am achieving that freedom. Now, again, like we have often learned here, disruption starts from what do I really want? We can't escape that thing. What do I want? I mean, the late preacher Kenneth E. Hagin, he said he got to a time he was going to church, he looked like he was wearing wet socks every morning. But he's never been an evangelist, no church. Then he said, no, why if I'm just going to church, I'm feeling like it should not be for me. But then fear is going to come. So because the brain likes comfort. Harriet said she wanted to start a business. Then she just looked, Then you're going to think of the possibilities of loss, the possibilities of this. One thing I will tell you, one book that if you really understand that book, you will not fear the possibility of anything. That book is The Last Word on Power, Tracy Goss. This week, I think Wednesday or Tuesday, I spent about 2 hours on the phone discussing Tracy Goss with Janice. If you really understand, now life has no guarantee for anything. Life has no guarantee for anything. So first know that one, there is no guarantee. And when Tracy Goss begins to say dying before battle, no, you've died. And if you read it with the Johnson story, no, failure is not, you don't know what will come after failure. In fact, tell yourself, according to Tracy Goss, I have failed, so I'm doing it. I remember for 5 years in Uniben, I couldn't spin a gear. When I got to Lagos, I still could not spin a gear. So because I'm afraid they will tell me no. So when I got to Lagos, I just assumed they've told me no. So it was easy for me to spin there. So I just assumed that you have even failed, but this is what I want to do. So I had to disrupt the narrative of what if they tell me no? What if I say I love you, say I do love you, then I will just let the ground open, let me enter inside. So okay, now I changed it. My story, they've already told me no, so let me go. Now it starts with what do you want? Now, what do you want? It's good. What's the title of the book? Okay. Tracy Goss. Okay. The title of the book is The Last Word on Power. I'll post it on the group after this class. The Last Word on Power by Tracy Goss. If you are 70 and you understand that book, you can start a business. If you are 80, Donald Trump went for president at almost 80, and you say you are afraid, what is more difficult than being the president of the United States? Now, in my own small life, I have seen that people who have no regard, sometimes they look arrogant, they have no regard for failure. They are making more difference than those who, look, there is an executive in a company in VI here now. Look, this guy, in my own judgment, oh, God forgive me, he's so uncaring about some of the things he does. But it's making him achieve results. And because of that, the CEO likes him. I don't want to use the word that I hate him. God forgive me. But he does it. I say this guy, my mind until I started reading Tracy Goss, my mind was judging. You be human. All this one you are just, but he does it. You say go to this, he goes. Now, when your mind is holding you from what you want, sometimes just if you are unable to unearth, uncovering where you are, many of us, we don't know how to uncover it. We don't know how to go to the source of the narrative. Go to this. If you can go to the source of the narrative and you uncover it, so this is what. Yeah, but if you find out that something, Tracy Goss will say something, life has no guarantee for anybody. I remember when I went to speak in Alausa about a month ago, said you think that the people who entered Air India knew that the plane would go explode after 32 seconds. I say in the business class were company CEOs who were returning to the UK. Life has no guarantee for anything. The day you know that, not the way I'm saying it now, it's not this, I mean, if I don't like the business I'm doing and I need to do another one, then I'll go and do it. I'll put in all my energy. Then it fails, then I'll go for another one. But when your narrative is tied at this is how life must show up. Sometimes the pain can be a lot. There is no way, one of the things I learned in the last word on power, there is no way that life should show up. The way life should show up is the way it's showing up now, is the failure I'm experiencing now. Then the next question is, what do I do? Next week, we'll be looking at something, being God. So the Bible says, ye are gods. So God himself saw, he said, everywhere was dark. Failure is coming. The narrative of failure can get me stuck again. But now, in next week, when we're looking at being God, what do? You are looking at failure that you orchestrated. It's not doing you anything. Every time, sometimes I go to X, Twitter, and I will just see, Elon Musk attempt to launch a rocket and the thing blew up. There is even nothing. It just says that the next one, in 28 days, they will launch the next one. That there was a communication that didn't activate when the rocket was to lift. You know, the story and the events. I don't know who was talking and he was saying, was mentioning failure and all that. Failure is a judgment. We'll get into some of this in being God next week. So there's nothing called failure in absolute sense. There is nothing. It doesn't exist. The thing called is a judgment we give on the situation. So I was guest speaker in an annual youth event in a Redemption Church at Ogba not too long. And the head of the youth district now question and answer. But we young people, we don't have opportunities. Say, you are holding an iPhone. The Queen of England 300 years ago didn't even know what they call electricity. Just see what is with you and you have no opportunity. What is opportunity? The way you script the story can put you in prison. So the way you script this story, at any age, at any time in your life, as I was reading the article yesterday, I said, would this be one of the reasons why sometimes maybe Shell helps some of these large organizations? I'm just using an example of Shell. They just want to help you see life in a different way. One of my elder brothers who retired from Shell is a civil engineer. At one stage, he was just moved to human resources. I think one time he was head of human resources. When I got to his office, it just looked like, man. But I was reading the article and I said, look like sometimes organizations help to disrupt people. You begin to see, when you go to human resources, you see it different from the way engineering sees the company. Now, sometimes in life, you are seeing it from just one angle. When you disrupt yourself, you see it from another one. The story you are telling is that sometimes people tell different funny stories. the older people don't want letters because I work with young people a lot. I say, who lets people? I say, I don't know who has ever let me do what I want to do. And you take it what you want to do. You decide and you go there. They don't let anybody. So you will get to 90 and all your life will be full of regret. They don't let, the life does not let anybody. So you are going to create your life. I'm looking at what I want now. You are free to change what you want. Last year, I really enjoyed working in Jos. I don't like working in Jos again. I don't. I got HSMP. I was working in UK. I got tired. Came to visit, came for Christmas one holiday, and my interest just in the UK just died. I don't know why. I didn't plan. The holiday was not that I would relocate to Nigeria. Just like I'm going back to go and resign and pack my things. Now, but what will come usually, the next thing will be fear. Then what will happen, what will not happen? No, what do you want part time? I was having a conversation with somebody last week. He said, what if you move to the US? I said, US is not my style. I said, it's easier for me to move to Adamawa than to move to US. Now, that's what I want. It has nothing to do with one is success and one is not success. If you have read the biography of Elon Musk, you just see a drive that like has not what the definition of success, he doesn't have it. It is the achievement of a particular goal that is driving him. And the market values what he's trying to achieve, whether it's taking people to Mars, whether it's taking people to the moon. So the market, financial markets value it. Last year, how much was he paid? $29.6 billion. Human being. That is the wages of the whole nation, the whole of Nigeria. The total wage, the whole budget of Tinubu is not to $29.6 billion. That's what he earned for 1 year. And I think I don't even know one that the court is blocking now, 56 point something billion, that they should not pay him the money. They don't value his attempt to do what he's doing. So when you look at yourself, when you too much analysis, you are able to uncover what context am I coming from. People get disappointed in life a lot because they just felt the growth in this IT industry will continue. So you held on to it. No, be like God. If it comes out dark, what do you want? Decide what you want. You are always the decider. The time is running, and I want us to just comment on the last article that I sent yesterday. So a lady who separated from her sister because she caught the sister kissing her fiance. And I don't know how many of us read it. So, but the question is, so she got to know of those letters and what, for those of us who read it, those letters that her sister wrote after the sister is dead. And she has written a book on Amazon now, Letters from Elena. So, but in our own life, we don't want to get to, so it's looking like she's crying, she's living in regret. Now, what kept her is the narrative. Now you get to find out, here's the line after your sister is dead, that you'll be held by a narrative. So the same question we are asking, how can we disrupt ourselves without waiting? So she has gotten to a place, she didn't disrupt anything. Her sister is dead, and now she's finding out that the thing that separated her and her sister for nearly 12 years is just a false story. But how do we disrupt ourselves not to wait for this kind of events? That is one application of disruption. If we can live with it, that will add some value to our lives this morning. Who read the article and who wants to comment?
I did. I read the article. I think one of the things that happened there was pride and anger. So it was the man, her boyfriend, that tried to kiss that sister, and as she was pulling out, you understand, the main sister that has the boyfriend came and saw, and that was where the whole thing scattered. And she did not wait to hear any explanation. She blocked her sister phone, everything. She didn't want to even have anything to do with the sister because she thought that her own sister was betraying her, having a relation, trying to have a relationship with her own boyfriend. So if she had, given an opening ear, open your ears, listen, don't just block things out, give people time to explain themselves, she wouldn't have been where she found herself, because later she found out that all the things, the sister tried to reach her many times but blocked her, was not there for her celebrations and all of those things. I just feel that it was anger. It was anger, and anger can drive people to something else, and it can even injure yourself, because there was a program we went as women. They told us, they said, there's nobody that is too big for you, that you don't want to forgive. No problem that is, because you are going to injure yourself. That people who even have cancer, they come from, some of those things come from, anger, annoyance, unforgiving spirits, so it brings problem in their own body, because the person that you think has annoyed you may have moved on, but you are holding it on. That's what she suffered. So if only people can let go and then listen more, they will come out. She would have come out of the problem she later found herself. That's what I think from that story. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good
Mr.
morning.
Adunayo. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
Minister
also,
Saha.
yes,
Adunayo,
good
just hold on
morning.
for Saha. Okay, go on.
Yeah, I also read the story. It was indeed very emotional. And what I think was affecting Ellie is superiority complex and not willing to back down. In life, a lot of people develop this concept of being superior, don't wanting to let down their guard. They think if they let down their guard or coming closer to the point of compromise, they will be seen as weak people. And that has affected her for many years. And so, generally in life, we have such people who never give room for failure. Just like you taught us that failure is just a judgment, who never give room for evil or bad things to happen. And one thing I believe in life is about compromise. That is what I was taught some time ago. You yourself have your own flaws. You yourself will make mistakes. So if someone makes a mistake or something inadvertently happen, give room. Probably something forced her to do it. Okay, let's say if it were not the boyfriend that forced himself on her, her sister voluntarily kissed her. She must have asked her, why did you kiss my husband or my boyfriend? Maybe she was under emotional blackmail. But that is what a lot of people, we never give time to others to explain. And if we fail to give others the room to explain, although some people normally say, if you allow some people to explain, they will convince you. But for me, I think it is better for you to convince me whether what you are saying, you yourself know it's not true, for us to live in peace. It is better you say a lie that will solidify our relationship and we continue to live together than you say a two, or you do not allow it something to be said, then a whole relationship scatter and destroy for life, which later on you will regret. And I love the ending part of the story wherein it says sometimes we go through some things, the hurts she encountered. Now she's using it in a way that she's honoring now the relationship that she has once destroyed. Thank you. That's what I learned about it.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Adunayo.
Thank you, sir. Good
Yeah,
morning, everyone.
good
Good
morning.
morning. So I was able to read the article, and just like the last speaker mentioned, it was such a sad story. Such a sad, sad story. I felt so sad, reading that thing, and which just brings me to every time I'm always appreciating these sessions we have, because I remember we had a session in, I think it's February or so, and you talked about a particular coaching course that you had where the facilitator said, look, everything is all made up. if you have anybody who you were in a relationship with, a father, family member, sibling that you are not speaking with, pick up the phone. Nothing is preventing you from calling that person except that mental block. Nothing. Pick up that call that person now. And then all of you began to pick up your phones. People were calling their parents they have been estranged from for years. So it's all in our head. And for me, I just like the last speaker mentioned, yes, there's also something rooted in pride. And I don't know, it's just my own opinion. I think the individualistic mentality that is entering into the West as we know it as a geographical location and also as an ideology that is also being spread to those of us in Africa, and some people are beginning to adopt it, is part of the problem. Because don't you have family member? You don't have brother, you don't have mother who can ask the other sister what happened and then call you family meeting. This is what happened. Don't you have members who can get involved in that matter? How did it have to happen? And for me, yes, she's honoring her, but she's profiting from the girl's pain because she's the one now who has made all the money is coming into her own pocket. It's not the other one has died and gone, so she's profiting from it. So it's just a sad story, but for me, I think is the humility to be willing to be at fault, is the humility to honor the relationship much more than your own pride. That humility, that choice of this is my sister, I commit to this relationship regardless of what the situation is. I commit to, if my sister does this, I would still try to pay attention as to what happened. Is the need to, or is the commitment, is the choice of saying relationships are key, and regardless of what happens, even if I walk away from the relationship, but it will be from a basis of understanding, not just shutting down, refusing opportunity for dialogue and just walking away, which is drawn from that individualistic perspective. And I don't think human beings are created for such systems. I think humans grow and thrive in communities. And sir, I don't know, sir. That's my own thought, sir.
Thank you very much. Oge has just made a comment there. Easier said than done. My sister betrays me, I will cut her off. All right. Okay, Wisdom, the floor is yours.
So I have a question.
Go on.
This is it. Let's assume that lady did not die, right? How, I'm talking from that lady's point of view, the one who died, the twin who died. What if she did not die? And this is a real life situation, and she's living with a sister who is always feeling like she betrayed her, and again, if me, I'm even in that scenario, I will not forgive that my other twin. If after I died and I discovered that you came to find my letter, even maybe if I'm in heaven or wherever I am, I will never forgive you again there, because one, I was alive since you didn't ask me anything. You didn't talk to me. You felt like you can snub me and I cannot snub you. Right? And again, I also felt like that other lady did not try harder to get to her sister. But whether she tried harder or she did not try harder, let's just assume she did not die. How do one deal with negative emotions? How do you deal with gaslighting? Because to me, that's gaslighting. How do you deal with knowing that somebody is trying to accuse you for what you did not do and is not giving you an audience to speak, and then you have to live through that emotion? How do you deal with that? Do you just also aura for aura, energy for energy? I'm asking because that we are in a Gen Z generation, so I will give it back to you as but on a much more better sense. This is a being class. We're supposed to be better people. Like, I'm supposed to come out so that in case such things happen to me, I will know how to deal with such situation. How do you deal with your sister who believes that gaslighting and keeping quiet is the best? That's my question, sir.
Okay. I'll come back to that. Okay. Julia, the floor is yours.
Okay, good morning, all.
Good morning.
I'm very happy to be here today. In fact, I've learned a lot. Okay, I'll just go straight to the article you posted yesterday. If I am to talk about it, I will speak from the area of misconception. Misconception. is one thing that really affects a lot of people. Most time we see things that are not really the way they are. Then another area is benefit of the doubt. It is good as individuals that we should always have this benefit of the doubt. We should try to always want to hear what the other person has to say, irrespective of what we have seen or what we have heard. Then lastly, I would want to say that it is good to forgive. Most times we think that forgiving is helping the other person, but actually forgiving is feeding on our own self, free ourselves from hard emotions, bitterness. That's all I have to contribute now, because I'm in a place that I can't really speak. Thank
Okay,
you.
I was going to ask you a question, so let me not ask
Okay,
you
you
this.
can just ask. You can ask.
No, okay. So you are talking of, it looks like you need to find out whether the thing really happened. Now, I want you to imagine, because sometimes people just go through this torture. One of the things I learned from Bishop T.D. Jakes, don't get to 70 years and just look back. It's a litany of regrets. Now, you really saw Matthew, I think the guy's name is Matthew. Matthew on top of your sister having sex. And this is where, how can you stop? I posted it on the group yesterday, and a lady in the group said, I have two twin sisters now who are living in the UK, 12 years, no good money to each other. She said to me, I have sent this article to two of them now, because every effort to make them to talk has not worked. So you really saw it, but how do you, we're talking of disrupting your narrative. Your narrative, you can live in, those who have expressed, I will not forgive. They are all correct. But is there another way? So it's not, this one I'm not guessing, I really saw it. I opened the door. I know a story that happened somewhere in the estate where I live in Lagos, where a man, I don't know whether I was suspecting the wife really, pretended that he's going to South Africa. And the next thing, he came back after 6 hours, his best friend is on top of his wife. But how really do you, this one is not whether you have seen it, but this lady is writing as like, look at all these years, this is just torture to know all this. Even with all the money whether she makes money from the book or the book was published just July 2025. It's raging, it's going viral on the internet. Whether you give all the money to charity, but it looks like a part of your life has died. But the learning is, which I guess is the reason she wrote the book, first of all, Letters from Helena. How do you prevent this kind of situation? Michael, the floor is yours. Let me leave you, Julia.
Okay.
Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Michael.
It's a pleasure to be here again. How do you prevent it? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll touch on that last, but let me touch on one or 2 points that earlier speakers have made. Saha, I saw his title as Minister Saha, mentioned that oftentimes we don't want to let down our guard because we think that will create an impression that we are weak. That is one. And then I think the lady who just spoke last spoke about misconception. In this particular case of Elena and her sister, clearly from what we are reading or what we have read, it was a misconception. But to relate the whole thing to the being, to the whole subject or concept of being, you often mentioned this book, The Last Word on Power by Tracy Goss. There when she talks about executive reinvention, she talks about what do you listen for? And what do you listen for in order to do what? So essentially, what are you watching out for? And that thing you are watching out for, what are you trying to achieve with it? That's where the issue of letting down guard or keeping up guard comes in. You keep up a guard. Why? Because you are watching out for certain things. And those certain things, when you do observe them, what do you intend to do with them? Now, how does that relate to being? It comes back to this subject of where are you coming from? Who are you trying to be? Or who are you trying to evolve into? Usually, we guard against threats to our, if I may compound the word, being purpose. That is who we are trying to be, who we are purposing to be. We guard against threats to that. And we open ourselves to what we think will facilitate that. So this lady whose sister has died, I can't remember her name, I read the article. When she saw that scene, what obviously she interpreted it immediately as betrayal. And immediately she reacted to that perceived betrayal and sustained that reaction for all of 12 years till her sister died. Now, in relation to the concept of being, why does she feel so strongly that she needs to guard against betrayal? Is it because she feels weak inside? I'm conjecturing now. Is it because she feels that if she's betrayed under any circumstances or in certain circumstances, she cannot recover, her emotions cannot recover, or her psyche cannot recover? So if we want to analyze this whole thing from the concept of being, those are the things we should probably be thinking about. Much of what has been said before, at least by the last 4 speakers, much of it has been talking about our natural everyday reactions. And if I may chip in for the young lady, I don't know whether you qualify as a Gen Zer now, who said even if she's in heaven and she looks down, she will not forgive her sister. If you are a Christian and you believe in heaven, you need to examine that position again, because if you don't have a forgiving spirit, or there are certain things you cannot forgive, heaven will be difficult to live in. The other lady, I think the last speaker who talked about we must learn to forgive, I think I agree entirely with that. Because oftentimes, when we don't forgive, we actually carry that offense or hurt around with us somewhere in our conscious or subconscious mind. And to the extent to which we allow that offense to occupy a space in our conscious or subconscious mind, we have narrowed the space available in that area for other things that can make life more pleasant. That's one of the reasons why they say bitterness or unforgiveness hurts the carrier more than the person who is the object of it. So now, to come to the last question you asked, if a man finds himself in the kind of situation you described that occurred in the estate where you live, what does he do? Again, it will come from to respond to that, one will have to also think about who is the person being. There is no relationship that cannot be broken, even natural relationships, at least by conscious act, right? Now, whether he was suspecting the wife or he wasn't suspecting the wife, he found himself face to face with that kind of situation. Whether that can ever be explained away by the perpetrators is debatable. In my opinion, no explanation will be acceptable. But the issue is, what would he do with that information? That information in the sense that he has observed that kind of thing. What would he do with it? Can he continue to live with that kind of wife? If he cannot continue, what is he going to do? There are some men who know, at least as I've read in stories in the past, who know that their wives are unfaithful and they continue to live with them. Whether they have caught them in the act or not, I wouldn't know. But I've heard stories like that. And there are some others who, even on the suspicion of it, will break that relationship. So it really depends on what the man wants in his own life. That is what will determine what he will do. Let me stop here.
Okay, Margaret has dropped her hand. Okay, so thank you very much, Michael. And Is Harold trying to say something?
Yes, so, Coach. Coach, what I want to say is that pride, is really very strong. Pride. If you're very proud, and it's proud people that get this type of situation. My pastor always says that if you want to marry, make sure that your husband has somebody that he respects, somebody that he can say, go and do this, and he obeys. If you don't have that type of somebody, and you want to marry that type of man, just know that it's going to be a very rough ride, because if you confront.
Sorry for time. Summarize.
Yeah. So first of all, what I mean is that if confrontation does not work directly with them, mediator. You should be able to have somebody to mediate between between you and your sister, so that you can arrive at that compromise. So there was nobody, even the mom could not actually mediate. So that was just a problem I saw, which was really very painful. That the mom could not call the daughter to ransom and say, "Look, you are my children. Let's get this thing all right." So that is where the issue is. Pride. People should be humble enough to accept, where they are wrong and be able to take action. And because she wasn't able to accept that, correction, she had this problem.
All right, thank you. Margaret, your hand is up now.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Well, I didn't join from the beginning, but from what I've heard so far from the story you sent previously, you see, you can forgive. Forgiveness does not mean that you must continue to have relationship with the people. For your own sanity, you can decide to forgive and just blank the people. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think it's even proper for people to be compelled to have a relationship with people after you feel they have broken your heart, whether it is for good reason or for wrong reason or for manipulated by someone, and see just force yourself to, it might not be really, and be hurting yourself unnecessarily. So sometimes you need a long time or a short time to overcome that and maybe reconcile, but we should, it's not that you have a lot of missed opportunities by the time you find out the whole truth. It's not that you did not forgive, but you had missed opportunities. That the relationship you could have enjoyed with the sister, she could have enjoyed with the sister. She lost all that because the fiancé, who was a cunning man, clashed them. He succeeded in cutting them off from each other. God will judge him on that matter. But I feel as a being, your sanity is important to you. We must always be careful, with our hearts. Everybody heart not strong like the other person. Everybody gets their own boundaries, When you know what you cannot tolerate or accommodate in your life, you will be wise to just know your limits and say, okay, let me stay away for a while. If your heart heals and you want to try and come back again, fine. If not, just answer your papa name, That's all.
All
Thank
right.
you. Good morning. I'm happy
Good morning.
the program today.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Please come more. So we'll just round up now, and thank you, everyone. So this is my own personal contribution too. Like, there is no wrong or right in a class like this. So all those who said they will cut off the sister, they are right too. If you notice, there's a video I posted of Wena Ehad, a 2-minute clip. I think it's the second time I'm posting it. Why did I post it the second time? I was dealing with an issue on Thursday, and I know with what I've learned in being, I know it's my interpretation giving me the problem. I need to go back and watch the 2-minute clip. I watched it up to 10 times. I didn't know when I pressed and posted it in Clap. I posted it like 3 months ago. But what was Wena Ehad saying in that video? That video was recorded. It was a recording in Stanford University, US. Now, a woman came crying. I have not spoken to my dad for 26 years. And it's not only me, including my brother. And now my brother died, my dad is crying. And I'm just wondering, if I die, is it the way my dad will be crying when we don't talk? You can imagine, she has even sent a text message, or is it a call, to the dad? Can we talk? 26 years. Now, I remember one time in Warri, I was known as the apostle of preaching, honor your father and your mother. So now I'm hearing when Ehud say, it's okay. Now, what does when Ehud mean? I'll tell you, outside the Bible, nobody has influenced me like when Ehud. All the Tracy Goss, all these people I call, Rosamond Zander, all of them are students of when Ehud. He's 91 years now. And in the psychology of knowing what you want in life, I don't know anybody who is even half of Wena Ehud. Wena says, if you are happy, if you will turn 100 tomorrow and look back, I am glad I cut off my sister, then do it. So we have read the story now. The purpose of the story is not for us to go into, to say this is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. But we are saying in the story, just like a typical MBA case study, this person is living in pain now, the senior sister who is alive. A pain she's going to carry depending on the other mechanism to get rid of the pain. Whether maybe writing the book is one of it, I don't know how she's handling it. But I just missed 12 years of enjoying this person as my sister. So the question is, for me, after reading it, I said, so I'm in this condition. Let me really say I'm with one of those who said, cut off the person. But who would I need to be? I really enjoyed the comments, the position from which Michael did his own input. Please, Michael, you have to stop missing classes. So these your contributions. We need more of it. Who do I need to be?
I hear you, sir.
Who do I need to be not to experience this thing? Now, this is my take. It is how much you allow. You see, there is one of Wena Ehud's article. You are a clearance, the clearing, the stock exchange. You are the door for things to happen. How you allow, you are a door. Now, how much things can you allow through that door? I always say something. In the Bible class I took on Sunday last week, I was quoting Romans 5:14. Until the law, there was no sin. Any violation you have in your life, you set it up. You are the one that said, if they do me this, I am violated. If you are fine with it, it's your life, nobody else. Now, but you can design your life to have a wide door. I remember one of my sons, Rehoboth, when he was in Covenant University, he was very judgmental. I was shocked just 2 years after graduation from Covenant. He said something. See, all the things I criticize in Covenant University, I've done them. See, it's just making me sober. I was shocked. All the things I criticized in Covenant University, in 2 years after graduation, I see your 20s, I've done them. Now, it just shows when they say those who throw stones should not live near glass houses or something like that. Look, it's how much space. Some of us, the room for people to come into our life is very narrow. Now, nobody is going to tell you how wide you should open the door of your being. When Nelson Mandela came out of prison after 27 years, there was this argument whether Winnie should be the first lady. Nelson Mandela said she should be the first lady. They said she has been sleeping with men while you were in prison. Nelson Mandela said, what do you expect? A young lady that I married and I went to prison for 27 years. He said, I've forgiven her. I want her to be the first lady. But the ANC executive said, if she's going to be the first lady, then you cannot be the president. We'll not allow you to be the president. How much is all about being? Some of us, you see, I've met people whose door are really narrow. But if they are happy with it, I'm happy with it. I can't live. Maybe the kind of person I am, I can't see how I will live 26 years. I have not spoken to my dad. And the woman is even still crying. She's still calling her dad. Are you ready to talk? Now, it doesn't mean, look, if you learn some of this I've learned from Wena, it doesn't, Wena will say that you are right. That is what you decided to be. I remember the story I was telling when I went to speak in Alausa 3-4 weeks ago. And I was saying that decide what you want before you get into an argument. Decide. Don't win the argument and the marriage is destroyed. And the woman who was still in the meeting raised her hand and said, What if what I want is to win the argument? And I told her, go into it with all the fire you have. Just make sure you win it. Because I can't tell you what you want. If it's to win it, if winning it is better than the marriage, it would really be better. I don't know. For me, it may not be better. So it doesn't mean I should judge you. But it is just what being gives us the space to know is, it is me. We are constantly the one making the choices. I know a lady in this Lagos, a guy, and the guy is my friend, is a lawyer, who he was practically engaged to this guy. And this lawyer went to see her at home. They are already thinking of getting married. The lawyer saw her younger sister, and the lawyer said, Jesus, I don't fit marry this other girl. Now, younger sister I want. Before I knew, or before to the fiancé, whatever, this lawyer caught up this one, started going after the younger sister. Finally, they got married. But guess what? There was a time the younger sister was traveling to Ghana. The elder one gave her all her friends in Ghana and told them that they must give her support. That's the older one. The older one, I mean, called all the friends. Yeah, okay, that's the elder sister. I said, how can you do, in my mind, how can you do this kind? Till today, they are very close. They call one another. This one is married to the one. This person. How much space have you created in your life? It's not one of the things I found out. There's no need to judge anybody. It's up to you. Nelson Mandela became president, and finally he was persuaded not to marry Winnie, and he went for another lady. But it wasn't his making. But for the sake of the peace of ANC, he had to do the bidding of others. But you see, for me, you can do anyone. I can do Nelson Mandela and forgive the person. If she forgave her sister, maybe she would have known the truth, but I'm even saying you saw Matthew on top of her. Look, the space you allow for your life, the door, when I had called it a clearance, the clearance there are people who are easily offended. Easy. Now begin to see how much, if you make room for people to come into your life, a very narrow door, the door wide if you want people to. He that wants friends must show himself what? Friendly. Make the door wide. Like, you see, one of the things I've seen in the works of Byron Katie, there is nothing that sometimes every human being criticizes that the person does not have capacity to do. Nothing. All of us who are saying here that, look, we'll cut off the sister, we have the capacity. I have the capacity in me now to be Jesus and to be Satan. The capacity is inside me. That I'm not triggered, it doesn't mean it's not inside me. So it's going to depend on how much of life you understand, how you understand it, what you are going to allow to go. I may not have anything to do with you again, but does it mean I should block your life? It's another decision. There are levels of decision. Hey, I want to, look, this thing is hurting me. I want to just get away from it for 6 months. One other thing, you see, when you come to a class like this on being, remember my introduction, what we think we are seeing in the world is programming. What we are seeing is not the actual thing. It's programming that interprets the external event for us. So if you know it's programming, if she ever has stumbled into a class or read a book, like however you tell it, not 99%, it's a story you made. If you meet Werner Erhard, if you see his coaching session on YouTube, he is raw. You are going to ask him a question. So, I don't get. It's your choice to cut off your sister. You say, it's not my choice. I saw her with my distance. He said, no, you saw your boyfriend kissing her. That's what you saw. It's called an event in psychology. That event has no judgment. Then your context came in. When you slammed your context of what happened, now it is you who are the cause of your problem. Somebody told me that I narrated a problem to somebody this week, and he said, Tunde, you are the cause of this problem. You are the one who took being the cause of all the problems in your life. For 1 hour, I could not get up. It's so hard when you are taking it. And I sat on my sitting room and I kept assimilating that I'm the problem. I said, Tunde, don't resist it. That's what sometimes we call disruption. Byron Katie said, you said they dumped me. Say now, turn it around. I dumped him. Turn it around. I dumped myself. Nobody dumped you. Now, when you turn the narrative around, you suddenly begin to, in the beginning, it is hard. And you need it. For the last 2 weeks now, I am trying to practice something I'm learning from when I had. When you see things, that's just what happened. I used to be a strong critic of Donald Trump. For 2 weeks now, I've not criticized him. And I pray I will never again. Because I agree with it. But right now, I look, this is what he did. That's all. The rest is my judgment. You can even imagine. Sometimes it's not stupidity. I'm a Nigerian, and I can judge Donald Trump. Can you imagine how the brain works? So we have all these judgment and filters of what is good and what is not good. But once you just learn to, this is what happened. So the driver was coming from a driver and their cars hit. Judgment is, this one was drunk. No, there's no judge. This is what happened. Learn to be observing things as they happen without casting your filters on the thing. Now, like I said in 1 or 2 classes ago, quoting Tracy Goss, it is not that because you have filters, these judgments will disappear, but that you know, when I was told Tunde you had the problem, it took me 1 hour. I sat in one place, looking at all the filters, how I got to where I got to. You take a lot more responsibility. You will see some of the things we will look at next week. In chapter 1 of the book, Art of Possibility, Rosamond Zander said, it's all invented. Look, if you just, the chapter 1 is about 23 minutes read. If you read that, it's all, there is no story that is not invented. The event is different from the story. He said, and you have the capacity to invent anything depending on what do you want. So if the lady, Leah, her name, if Leah had said, no, I want Elena. But if she says, I don't want her till I die, she's okay. I want Elena. I hate what she has done. I don't know what, I don't know which church I was sitting in, and the pastor said, I hate sin, but I love the sinner. I love my sister, but I hate what she has done. How am I going to find a meeting point? Now, we're only learning, so Green is not going to tell you who you should be tomorrow. Never, not in this class. But the filters that choose your personality, and some of our personality, you see, there are personalities that are working against us, what's the name of this guy, or the lady who wrote Frankenstein? We have Frankenstein, the demon, but there's no pastor you need to pray for you. You need to overcome the filters running your life. The filters are deciding who can come into your life, and you are not even aware. On Porsche, there is this, I don't know whether it was Rosamond Zander or Tracy Goss. And somebody changed filters, and the next day, an avalanche of relationships opened up. Now you are going to decide how much door you want to allow for people to be. How much door? They are just human beings like you. I'm going to let them be. If me, I'm subject to error, they are subject to error. Does it mean they must come into my space? No. Is everyone in my space today? No. Everybody, the whole world can never be your space. You will still choose who comes into your space. But who you say, I block eternally, or I do this, or I do that. And sometimes if the filters are so narrow, I was reading there 2 years ago. There was a lady, 1 minute time, I should round up. There was a lady who died in London, and nobody knew she was living alone. She died sitting on the sofa. If you Google it, you will get it. I think it came out on BBC last year. Sitting on the sofa, rotting, became almost a skeleton on the chair she's sitting in London. Now, it's an apartment block. When people are coming down the stair, why? There's just stench. They couldn't see what was coming. All the doors are locked, but gradually, stench, bad odor will be coming out of the flat. They can't really, the heaters were left on the heaters were on for 2 years in her own flat. And people were now writing on social media, because this is a country that does not care. I said, this is how we pass judgment. This is a country that doesn't do this. You see, sometimes we have responsibility in our lives. I don't want to go into much of that case. You will read on it online. Now, it took one time. Nobody was seeing her again. There were piles of letter in front of her door. Council came and broke the door and saw a skeleton on the chair after 2 years. Now, maybe when I read the article and I was reading all the comments, just lambasting friends or family, I said, there we go again as human beings. Who was she being that the people who can come into her space were this narrow? According to the police, there were over 100 or so missed calls before her phone died, where she was sitting. But who was she being that nobody, I can't get her, didn't come and knock the door? Have you created the space of who you are being so narrow that a week, 2 weeks, nobody came? You have just cut off yourself from life. When I had, sometimes his philosophies, they seem to hurt even my brain. But look, I know nobody that has influenced me. That's the life you want, perfect. But being is always looking at, is this the life I want? It's only you. Nobody can decide that for me. Nobody that can decide that for you. I will stop here for today. Thank you very much. I've exceeded the time I planned to spend for today. Thank you so much. Thank you for making to this class possible. So you can do your greetings and we can begin to exit.
Yeah.